What's shaking, everyone? Welcome back. Welcome back. You are on the Spins Vinyl channel, and this is your brain on vinyl. And that went fantastic, folks. Yes. We are on a new streaming platform, guys. Do not hold it against us, man. We are working with what we got here. Anyway, should have tested that in advance. All good, baby. All right. What's up, everybody? I'm Jason, and I'm here with Chris. And we got a special guest today. We got Jason Rojas in the house.
Thanks for having me on, Chris and Jason Spins.
Always a pleasure.
This is our first Your Brain on Vinyl guest. So I just was looking at Jason's resume. You might know him from his Sunday morning streams at 10 Eastern. I mean, they're so hot, YouTube usually shuts them down halfway through. You may know him from Welcome Back. Welcome Back to Vinyl, arguably the best shootouts on YouTube when it comes to comparing records. He's a staple on Surface Noise, both the A side and the B side. He's a wealth of music info. He's got pop sensibility. And maybe most importantly, he went to Target on Black Friday, bought the Taylor Swift record, and played it instead of flipping it. Ladies and gentlemen, Jason Rojas.
Wow, that's quite an intro. Thank you, Chris. I mean, let's just bring it here.
Can we just admire the goods?
Let's bring it. Let's just bring it here. You know, I think if you've heard this story on Surface Noise, I held it like a football. Like I was the quarterback, and some moms were linebackers. Like they were ready to beat me up, but I made it through.
Jason,
you got to the end zone.
You're the first special guest on Your Brain on Vinyl, so thanks for joining us tonight.
Right, I'm the first guest to show a Taylor Swift record on this channel. Hopefully.
Oh, that's probably the last.
Jason, what are we doing tonight? This is a big show, man.
Yeah, it's a fun show, man. It is a fun show. So today we got a little bit of some record covers for you guys, man. Why not? I mean, Christmas is coming, right? It's just all supposed to be about fun and presents and all that stuff. So yeah, we're not going to get deep. We're not going to get too deep, but we're going to cover just some fun record covers. We each picked a little stack of them, and we might drop some knowledge. I don't know. I mean, I kind of have some notes on the stuff I picked, but yeah, we're just going to show off some stuff that's fun. And obviously, we want you guys to chime in, let us know what you guys think, and also share your favorite covers. I mean, I sort of think of it, I was thinking about before the show, it's like, as a collector of vinyl, obviously it starts with the music. We all agree with that. But the cover, the artwork, the jacket is part of the fun, right? It is. It's just part of it. Like, it's cool just to kind of have a big image as opposed to looking at your phone on a streaming service or something. And you got the liner notes, you got the inner sleeve, you got the back of the jacket. You got the gatefold in some cases. So let's get into it, man. I think this is going to be fun.
So Jason, what was your criteria in choosing your album covers? I'm curious.
So my criteria was sort of like, I guess in my head, I already have like X number of record covers, cover art that I already kind of think about. Like I've already done a little bit of homework on who the artist is and other jackets that maybe that artist did. And so when we talked about this, it was kind of like I almost already had in my Rolodex a little stack of records I wanted to do. And so that was kind of it. It was sort of like stuff that people are going to look at and maybe if you do or don't know already, some repeated artists in here, some artists that did some other cool stuff like book covers and stuff like that. So I really tried to kind of stick to the artwork, I guess, and have a little story about, about the cover art and the artist. So that was kind of my criteria.
Nice, man. That's a good criteria. So what's your first record, man?
First record. I tried to bring heat from the get-go, man. Here we go. A little Grateful Dead right out of the chute. This is Oxomoxoa. And I know a lot of people are kind of afraid to say this title because it's a weird name. It's also a palindrome. It's the same forwards as backwards. But we don't have to be afraid of it. It's Oxomoxoa. And so This is a great cover, dude. I mean, this is one of the ones I've talked about it before. Maybe you and I talked about it. Well, this is the first record that I ever bought in a store with my own money. As I was riding my bike down to the local record shop trying to find something that my mom would like. And of course, she was a big Grateful Dead fan, so it was like, oh, I didn't recognize this cover, so I snagged it and brought it home and everything. And so it's weird, dude. It makes me feel like I'm 10 years old every time I hold this thing. But anyway, this cover was painted by a dude named Rick Griffin. And Rick Griffin will be famous to those that are sort of into the Dead. He did some other stuff. He did a lot of stuff like in the Haight-Ashbury days and stuff like that. He was kind of one of those artists. And this has some symbolism to it as well. I mean, you got the kind of a sun up here, which kind of doubles as an embryo or an egg. You've got some sort of like Egyptian kind of motifs going on the back of it and on the back of it and stuff. Or is that another record I'm thinking of? Maybe it's a different one. Oh no. Yeah, we got kind of like the right here on the edges here. So anyway, it's a cool one, man. And I like, it's a well-known artist. This came from a concert poster, which was done first. So those that are really into this stuff will recognize this as a concert poster. They made it into a record. That's not the only time that happened with the Grateful Dead record either. So, man, that's it, dude. Just check those colors out. You know what I mean? It's beautiful. Oh, here's kind of the more Egyptian motifs as well up on top. But yeah, man, Oxomoxoa. That's my first pick.
Bonus points for being able to pronounce it. I can't say it.
I don't know, man. My dad must have taught me when I was young or something. You know what I mean? It just stuck.
Sweet.
So what about you, man? What's your criteria in terms of how you picked your records, and what's your first draw?
This is tough because I'm not necessarily into album art as like a top priority, but I remember being younger and like picking up albums based upon album art or being curious about it. So I just tried to pick 10 that meant a lot to me or just kind of embedded in my brain. I just went through and pulled the first 10 I could think of, like off the top of my head, off my shelf. So I'm going to start off with my favorite album cover of all time. And this is a no-brainer, if you know what I mean. That's Funkadelic's Maggot Brain.
Nice one.
Yeah, I worked into the Funkadelic and Parliament Funkadelic catalog a little bit backwards, kind of came in the middle of it. So when I was kind of doing my seeking and my discovery on these guys, when I saw this, it just didn't make sense to me. But this album cover perfectly describes the sound on this record, especially from the opening track. It's basically a woman coming out of the soil and the earth with just an amazing visual. So just really aligns with the sound of the album. And it's just a fun, cool record. And it's not what you think of if you got exposed to, Parliament Funkadelic and Funkadelic through different ways, more of their colorful later funk years. So this is just my favorite of all time. I love it. I actually have a t-shirt with this on it as well that I'll rock from time to time and disturb people with. So that's my number one.
So my question for you, Chris, do you think she's screaming or shouting in joy or shouting in pain? What do you think?
So it's kind of weird because if you look at it, it reminds me of a birth, but she's being, but it reminds me of like the pain you'd see a woman giving birth, but she's the one being born. So it has this weird duality to it. But she looks pretty happy. She looks like she's in the middle of some soul goodness. There's like this, it depends how you look at it. It's like the Mona Lisa, it's following you, but it's like, I don't know if she's mid laugh or mid scream, but it's a good question, Rojas. I guess it changes on the mood I'm in too.
So, well, I mean, it makes me think of like a zombie, dude. You say maggot brain, and there she is coming out of the soil. It's kind of like, the way I take that is like sort of like the undead coming back or something,
True. That's the beauty of like these album covers. They mean so much and they have different interpretations, which is kind of cool.
Exactly. Yep.
So Jason, what was your criteria in picking these?
This is tough. So the cover had to just shock me, or it had like an opposite effect. Like the cover was so striking, but the music wasn't. It was like a polar opposite in a way. But I guess there's one I told you guys I would pick one that was silly. Maybe there are two that are silly in the pile. So let's go with this. I'm gonna show the Louvin Brothers, Satan is Real from 1959. Now this
Oh,
is
nice.
now this is a country gospel record. If you're familiar, but the thing is, even though the record looks silly, the cover, look at these guys like, and then Satan is, woo, not, it's a cartoon Satan, but the flames in the background, let me remove my hand here, right? Even though the cover, right, again, a bit silly, this is a deadly serious record. They're totally talking about going to hell, Satan is real, right? The next song, there is a higher power, like the Christian life, of course, which was covered by the Byrds on Sweetheart of the Rodeo. I mean, this is all serious shit, honestly. Even though the cover is silly.
The juxtaposition of, like you said, the devil and the flames and these two guys just like, hey.
Correct. So, I mean, they look like they're welcoming, this, like, come, hang out. We're going to party with Satan. But no, absolutely no, So.
That's hilarious.
That's a good one.
That's a good
one. That was my
one.
first choice.
Dang, he's got a copy of it. That's one of those ones you see on those lists of, like, crazy album covers, right?
Yes.
All right. It's my turn.
Make yourself big, Jay.
Oh, make it big. All right. Next one for me is going to be this is one of my guys. And he got so many great album covers too, but I decided to kind of spotlight this one. This is Burnt Weenie Sandwich, Frank Zappa and the Mothers. Nice. And this one is actually a sculpture and, photograph of a sculpture, but still it's so artistic. I mean, just totally nutty with like the cue balls or the pool balls for eyes on that like head, and there's the hands kind of holding, and just weirdness going on everywhere. But this was done by Cal Schenkel, and Cal Schenkel was kind of a regular Zappa artist and did a lot of that stuff. But this one particularly, man, is just so cool. One interesting thing about this is that it was originally commissioned for the cover of an Eric Dolphy album, believe it or not. Eric Dolphy, the greatest jazz man of all time, creator of Out to Lunch, was supposed to get this album cover. So that's pretty wild right there. And it's also interesting that Zappa did a song called Eric Dolphy Memorial Barbecue. So there's kind of all these little threads. And I always knew that, like, Zappa had a little bit of that in him and was inspired by that stuff, that more free-form jazz. But yeah, man, just a crazy looking cover, I think. I mean, I love it. I've seen just the sculpture by itself, like hanging on the wall too. It's super cool seeing it in all its 3 dimensions and everything. But yeah, man, I just think that's such a classic album, Burnt Weenie Sandwich right there.
So my question for you, Spins, can you show the record back up?
Yeah.
How does that cover relate to the title, Burnt Weenie Sandwich? Now, I'm going to ask you.
I don't have an answer for that. I don't know if you do, but it's like, but you know what's funny is that the back cover, let me show this. So I've always thought that was more related. That's like a tire or something, I guess he's getting ready to take a nice little bite into, and he's saying, or he's thinking, God, this is a tasty little sucker. So to me, that's the Burnt Weenie Sandwich.
Yes. So if that was the front cover, people would be like, hell no, you are not buying this record. No. Like they would have been.
Exactly.
No.
Yeah,
like,
this is fine. Yes, this is fine. Back cover, not so much.
That's great.
All right, Chris, what do you got, baby?
All right, so we're gonna probably talk about this artist a few times, or this band a few times. You can blow me up, Jay, because I need it for this one. To me, this is the definitive album cover of this band, and that is 1971's Grateful Dead, known as the Grateful Dead, known as Skull Effer, known as Skull and Roses. But to me, this is just the most badass Grateful Dead cover because it opens up and it's almost like a poster for your wall. And I had plenty of friends in college who did not have the records in the sleeve and just nailed this to their wall or their door. And this is just definitive GD, in my opinion. I know they have so many great album covers and so much great artwork, but you look at the skeleton, the roses on the rose hat, I guess, on top. There's so much detail as you go through the bottom. It's just a fantastic picture. I wish I can get it all in here, but I chose this. It's my favorite Grateful Dead live album, probably because Wharf Rat's on here, and I know they have a lot of great albums that are live. But to me, this is just a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful album cover that I gravitate towards.
Very nice. That is a killer one, dude. In fact, when I saw that on your list, I probably would have picked it, and I was like, I gotta let them have it, dude. But yeah, that's so great. That's classic Grateful Dead right there, man.
Heck yeah, heck yeah. What do you got, Rojas? What's number 2 for you, my man?
All right. So I kind of organized this all by year. So we'll go through it. So we're still in the 50s. So this one is Nina Simone, right? Little Girl Blue from 1959. And this is vocal jazz, I believe, right? But the thing is, I guess this is her first record, right? And what I like about it is, of course, the music and her voice is amazing. I think the sincerity. If you look at this cover, she does not want to be there. She is.
Yeah.
Do we need to do this again? Can we wrap this up so I can play music or have a drink or whatever, hang out with friends? But that sincerity of the music also reflects this picture. I mean, she does look pretty bored.
Yeah. Nina's a trip.
That's interesting. She's like, why can't I get a cover like Sonny Rollins or John Coltrane, man? All their covers are cool as hell.
Or she was just not interested. You know what I'm saying? Just take the picture so we can be done and move on.
Yeah, right. Not even, yeah.
And
we're not...
Go ahead, Chris.
No. Go ahead.
I'm just saying, the music is, what do you call it? It's no nonsense. She's down to business, right? The songs here, of course, My Baby Just Cares for Me, and the big one, I Loves You, Porgy. Seriously, these are fantastic songs, right? Again, no nonsense. She's very sincere here,
Yeah, she couldn't be bothered with the cover, you're saying. I just
correct.
Yeah, gotcha.
So badass.
That's a great one, man. It's a great album. And it is funny that you point that out. I never really looked at it that way. Yeah.
Well, that's what I'm saying. The stuff I'll tell you is my impression of it, but it's
right.
Opposites, right? So again, the music, and the cover, they were a bit, opposite in a way,
Absolutely.
So
Yep.
there we go.
Very nice. Very nice. There it is. Nina Simone. Boom. Guys got to grab that record, first of all.
Did you see that documentary that came out a couple of years ago? Or maybe it was a little longer than a couple of years ago. What the hell's the name of it? What happened, Miss Simone? Or it's on Netflix. I forget. It's not bad. It's pretty good. And I can't remember the title. That's how good.
Yeah, I think I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
She had a house not too far from where I live in New York, and her neighbor was actually Malcolm X. It's pretty interesting. Pretty interesting historical fact there. But yeah, it's a great album cover.
And when she
had a lot to do with, I was going to say she had a lot to do with the civil rights movement too, I think. I mean, if I remember seeing, it's been a few years now, but I remember seeing a lot of interviews with her where she is very serious, in fact, when you talk to her about, serious issues and stuff.
But this cover says otherwise,
Right. All right. Very nice. Very nice. Chris, you're up, baby.
No, it's you, man.
Oh, is it me? Man,
Yeah.
do you think I could at least count to 3, you would think? All right. Well, my next one, another kick-ass piece of art, I think, and speaks to the album itself, which we got the Scorpions here. This one's Blackout. And what's the guy's name that did this? Gottfried Helmswein. I had to write it down because I'm not exactly sure how to pronounce it. But it's a self-portrait. And anyone that's seen the cover, or rather the music video for the tune No One Like You, he plays himself just like that in the music video. He comes in toward the end. But that's what this is a picture of. It's the artist dressed up in this garb, and it's a self-portrait. And that's just one of those striking ones to me, like Maggot Brain. It's just one of those, you see them, it's just up close and personal, the busting glass, and it's such a great painting, for one thing. I mean, you could mistake it for a photograph, but yeah, the backstory is kind of cool that it's a self-portrait and that this guy appears in the music video and everything. I think that's just cool. So Yeah, I mean, not much more I can say about it. I love this album. I mean, really, this is the one that got me into the Scorpions, and then seeking out the rest of their work. Maybe a handful of them that I just love. So yeah, Scorpions Blackout, man, and I just love that dude. Again, it's just such a great, realistic looking painting, but of such an odd thing with these forks on his eyes or whatever, man. Just wild. So that's my third one.
I like that.
I've never noticed the forks on the eyes before.
Yeah, it's like these bent in forks or something, man. It's just.
There we go. Wow, they're like going into his eyes or something, or covering it.
And the bandage on the head and just.
So he's like breaking through the mirror or something, or glass, right?
Well, and this is a dark video too. It's like the lead singer's like it's almost as if he's on death row and he's kind of walking through the prison and stuff. And it's dark. And then this guy's like maybe escaping from an asylum or something. And it's just, it's a dark video for sure. But, and the cover certainly depicts that. So, but yeah, there you go.
Nice pick.
All right, Chris. Groove Seeker. Let's get it.
My third one, 1970, the album that single-handedly transformed and ruined jazz simultaneously. Miles Davis, Bitches Brew. I freaking love this album cover. And this wasn't part of the original master recording. It's a MoFi. But I was too lazy to get my other copies out. So what I like about this is, from what I've read, the Miles actually commissioned the artist on this to design the cover based upon the music that he was hearing. So I guess it's a little bit of an illustration of his thoughts on it. And it opens up. It's pretty cool, pretty psychedelic and Afrocentric at the same time. I love that. So you can see the back cover. It's kind of like the other half of the person, or another view of the person on the front side. I'm really getting tangled here. But this was another album like similar to the Maggot Brain, where you come into Miles Davis from like a traditional jazz standpoint, and you see this like in the bins, or you see a picture of it, like, what the hell is this about? And the music just sums it up right there. So this is as I start to kind of decorate my walls, I would definitely look into getting some kind of print of this to put up, because it's just a beautiful piece of art. So Miles Davis, Bitches Brew.
Do you know much about the alternative? Because there's been it has another jacket, or they did I don't know what it is, outtakes or whatever it is, but is it the same artist, but they just did a different poster? Or maybe that painting's bigger than we thought it was? Or do you know anything about that?
I know a little bit, but it can't be confirmed. So like I said, I don't go crazy on album art. So this is a fun video for me to do, because it kind of forces me a little bit out of my element. But I know that there has been multiple box sets released on Bitches Brew, and that had alternative artwork. It seemed to be from the same artist, and I think RSD had some kind of outtakes or special release on Bitches Brew that included some of that. So, I would assume it's the same artist, but there's a lot of, and I'm sure he did a lot of other ideas that Miles probably reviewed, and they probably kept in the archives. So I'd have to read up on that. I'm not 100% sure.
Yeah, all good. Sorry to put you on the spot. I just thought I just popped into my head, because the other cover is really cool too. So I didn't know, and they're very sort of seem like similar motif and everything.
Yeah. What's up, Rojas?
All right.
I almost picked that. I'm glad I did not. I put it back. I was like, nah, I can't. It should be unique, I mean, I almost chose In a Silent Way, because there was something about the way he looked, and it was his face on the cover, and it was very mysterious, right? Like the title, In a Silent Way, Miles's face, right? The background was pitch black. Like, what's going on? But I did not choose it, So instead, I chose
mention.
Correct. Yeah. I chose 1967 Nico Chelsea Girl. What I like about this cover, and the cover was done by Paul Morrissey, who was mostly the film guy in Warhol's group, right? The thing about it is this cover is very reflective. Like, it's just a moody, broody cover. It's like she's brooding here, And there's some sort of sadness too with her in the color, but in the background, that black and white, this is just amazing. Like, it really pops, to see it. And the music reflects that again, like a very moody, moodiness of it, and she just looks on the back like she's ready to punch you. She's not very happy. But it has like such chamber folk pop songs on it. Like The Fairest of Seasons, These Days by Jackson Browne. Like this is, I don't know. It's very iconic.
I love that front cover, man, and I love records that as sort of a graphic designer myself, or having been in a past life, it's kind of like easy to think of graphic design, quote, being something that's new to the world since computers, but it's not. Graphically, that is a great cover, and I love the black and white in the back, and then the color image of her on the side and everything. And you're right, it's like she's double brooding. But as a piece of graphic art, quote unquote, I love that one, man. They did a great job with even the font and everything is just kind of, I don't know, sitting in the middle of that black field and everything. It's like, yeah, that is a great one, dude.
I was just going to say, like the font makes that pop. It almost, it feels New York to me, or feels like artistic to me in like a modern way, the way they laid that. But go ahead, Ross. Sorry.
Nope, you just continue. I'm just saying it's fantastic, and that's why I chose it. There's something about it. It really catches your eye for sure.
No doubt.
How is that record? I got to be honest, dude. My understanding of Nico is Velvet Underground and Nico, and that's kind of where it begins and ends. But I know a lot of people are into her records. How's the music on that one?
Like I said, very folk popish, very chamber, like with some orchestration on it, like a string quartet. So, I mean, it's actually probably the most genteel of her records. Everything else sort of goes to that avant-garde. I know that Jose likes the other records, but I prefer this one. You can play this one to anyone, No offense. I mean, I wouldn't play Desert Shore and Marble Index, on a date, but maybe maybe they would like it. I don't know. Janitor of Lunacy. I don't know, man.
If it's a bad date and you want them to leave, maybe.
Well, I would play Metal Machine music, and that would be the end of
there
that.
Yeah.
Rojas, who produced that album? Do you know?
Tom Wilson, who was the guy that did Mother's Invention, Zappa, right? Bob Dylan, of course.
And Johnny Cash.
Yep. And the first, I think, Simon and Garfunkel, I think. Yep.
Cool.
Very cool. Very cool.
My choice.
Very nice choice. I love it. All right. Jump into my next one here. I did see a little note of Van Halen earlier. We talked about it. Someone mentioned a different one. The one I'm going to point out, though, is 1984. Again, another kind of hyper-realistic, pretty realistic looking painting here, right? So I don't want to go... all of my picks are not going to be as photorealistic as some of the ones I'm showing here, but this one's great and has a cool story, man. The band commissioned this artist, and name was Margot Nahas, I believe, and to paint a portrait of 4 women dancing. The artist was basically like, I'm not interested, or wouldn't do it for one reason or another. But I don't remember all the details, but somehow a portfolio of the artist was brought to the attention of the band, and this was part of that portfolio, and they saw this painting and they were like, that's it. We want that. That's what we want to commission from you. We need to license that or whatever. That needs to be the cover. And so it's interesting because I never think about this painting already existing before the idea for this record, right? But it did. It was just part of the artist's portfolio. And so, yeah, the rest is history. I mean, it's a cherub here stealing a cigarette, with it's just such a great, like this 50s hairdo on this kid, the early rock and roll look of him or her, and then the wings and stuff. And then with the, whatever those are, Winstons or whatever, I don't know. But I don't know, always love this cover and stuff. And I just love how the whole cover is filled with that artwork. And I was so in love with this that I was looking online to see if you could buy prints, and the artist now, who I guess still owns the actual rights to this, sells them on the website. So I'm kind of like, and now that I'm pulling this out again, I'm kind of tempted to go buy one. But anyway, 1984, man, love that album.
So Spins. Go ahead, Chris. Go.
No, go ahead.
So Spins, what do you think of, what does that mean, that cover, the angel, the cigarettes, and what does that have to do with the title 1984? What do you think?
I don't know, man. I think it's one of those, like, it's sort of like what you've been saying, where it's kind of like this juxtaposition of things going on here. You got this innocent angel kid who's supposed to represent good, being tempted by the cigarettes here or something, or good people doing bad things. I don't know. Is that sort of kind of the theme of Van Halen in general? Is kind of like this like duality. I don't know what it has to do with 1984. When I think 1984, of course, I'm thinking like George Orwell and sort of like that kind of thing, Big Brother's watching and all that, which I don't think is related necessarily to the record. Of course, the record came out in 1984. So I don't even know if there's any connection there at all. So I don't know, man. Again, I just thought it was one of those cool things. I thought it was very Van Halen when I saw it. Of course, I was young when this came out and was there for it and loved it. But I don't know, something about an angel sneaking a cigarette that just seems very David Lee Roth to me. I don't know. Do you have any ideas?
It just means that fun, right? Dangerous fun is alive in 1984, right?
There you go. There you go. Couldn't have said it better.
I think it's like corrupting the youth, like, because everybody, if you like rock and roll, everybody's first time hearing Van Halen is like, it just gives you that shock and that jolt. So most of the time you hear it when you're a kid. That's how I feel. But it's a great cover. Is the artist selling the print without the album title? Is it just the?
Yeah, it's just the art print. Yeah.
Oh, that's cool. That's cool.
Yeah, it's cool.
So I have a modern one. This one is pretty cool for me. This is, I think, their 7th or 8th album, Dave Matthews Band, 2012, Away from the World. I picked this because Dave Matthews himself actually did the artwork. What's cool about this is whenever Dave Matthews signs an autograph or he signs like a guitar or something to be auctioned, every autograph actually includes a sketch. So if you meet him in the street and you give him a piece of paper, he'll sign his name, but he'll also draw something, which I think is pretty cool. If you go on eBay or look at some of the memorabilia that he signed, you'll see it. And I think it's something he started doing like kind of later on in his career. And then I've learned, obviously, they're artists in the music sense, but a lot of these guys are good painters or drawers. I know Bob Dylan, has a art gallery or line that he sells his stuff. But I just think this is cool because I'm probably never going to get his autograph. So I kind of get that experience. And it's a really cool painting away from the world. It's a lot of their music's really depressing. A lot of people don't assume that. A lot of the lyrics are introspectful and commentary on society, and you can see the different personality types all kind of boxed in. Frustration, sadness, anger, all these different emotions. So I just think it's a really cool cover and a little bit atypical, a little bit of a departure of what they were doing previously on their album covers before. So that's my pick.
Yeah, I like what you said about all the different kind of emotions and things, and really boxed in, right? There's kind of this claustrophobic feeling kind of coupled with it.
Yeah. And isolation, away from the world. Everybody's in their own little it's like pre-pandemic foresight, You're all going to be quarantined in their own little room. So.
That's cool.
I don't expect many questions on the Dave Matthews Band, but I couldn't find a Fish record that I wanted to show, so that was the next best guess.
Well, I mean, that's a very unique cover. I'm not familiar with that record, but that cover is very striking.
Well, and it's cool that the artist is, who was it? The lead singer, Dave Matthews, right? He's the artist for that. Yeah, okay.
Dave Matthews himself, yeah.
Very cool. Very cool.
There's some soul on here, Rojas. I feel like there's a couple tracks I can send you and say, oh, this is tolerable. Maybe I'll do that.
I'll check it out. Sure. All right. My second silly choice of the evening is the Attila record from 1970. Now it features good old Billy Joel here with the nice hair and the mustache, and the eyelashes and eyebrows, of course.
That's Chris's guy.
Right. So if you're not familiar with this record, this is a heavy psych hard rock record with organ and drums only. This is that thing that should be hyped up. I know like Dylan Noble's hyping up all those other lost classics, proto, but this is a lost classic despite, Billy Joel calling this, I think, psychedelic garbage. I think that's what he called it or something similar. But this record, I mean, they're looking tough here. You know, they got this medieval Huns kind of thing, and they're in a meat locker. Like the juxtaposition here is incorrect, right? They should be in a field, but they're in a meat locker. I don't know, you know. And then we get that woo, right? This Billy Joel right there, man. He's not going to sing those hits for you, right? So again, if we look at the song titles here, Wonder Woman, California Flash, which is about a stripper, I believe. Revenge is Sweet. Such great songs here, you know. Definitely not the stranger Billy Joel, right? This is not the Elton John wannabe, you know, Billy Joel, but we get that. We get that person
cruel.
who thought we get that person who wanted to be Led Zeppelin or something, you know, Deep Purple, but you know, instead you get, you know, Sea Purple or something. I don't know.
It's
So are
not
you
the
saying
stranger, it's just the strange Billy Joel.
But this is a great record, actually. It's a lot of fun, you know, despite the cover being rather silly, of course, you know.
Who's the other guy?
John Small. He was the drummer from the Hassles. Now, see, Chris, you're surprised I know all this stuff. After this record, Billy Joel stole John Small's wife and married her, right? Which effectively broke up the band, you know?
Damn.
So he
Typical
went
rock and roll.
Attila. He went Attila on the drummer, right? Oh, man. Jeez.
Damn.
So
I made a note of it, dude. I'm gonna check that out.
it's a lot of fun, actually. I would love if they reissued this, you know, and my thing is if I ever met Billy Joel in person, I would give him this record to get signed, not anything else. It would be this specific one, you know?
That's cool.
And I'm pretty sure he would be like, get this guy out of here. Get him out of here. I'm not signing this. Get him, you know, escort him out of here. You know, like, Billy, this is the best you've ever done. Come on. Lighten up. See, look at this cover.
It's great, dude. I love it. So you're saying he
That's
missed his
great.
calling, man. He was supposed to be the Attila guy. He ends up being the Uptown Girl guy.
Well, yeah, you can blame Elton John for that. You know, of course, again, stealing your drummer's wife, that's taking it, you know. But
That's
he
some
wrote a lot of
Beatles stuff
songs
right
for
there.
her, right? He wrote a lot of good songs for her. So she was the muse for a bit, you know.
They always are. Little Eric Clapton, oh God, George Harrison action going on.
Now, see, you said that. I almost chose Layla, but then I thought, nah, that would have been the easy choice. Let's go hard.
Yeah, you
Let's
win deep
do
cut. I love it.
Let's do Attila, you know.
Perfect.
I like it.
That's a great cover. I'm glad you say the music's cool because I'm gonna go check it out, man. I am a Billy Joel guy, so I mean I'm not a Billy Joel guy, but I like his hits, man. I can dig it. All right, next one for me is gonna be The Sound, a cool 80s band. Think like, you know, gothic sort of, you know, Bauhaus kind of thing. This one's from The Lion's Den. It's just another great piece of art, in my opinion. This is taken from the there's a biblical story, Daniel in the Lion's Den. And this artwork was actually painted in 1872 by Brinton Reverie, if I'm getting that right. So it's kind of a classic painting there, but it's actually a gatefold and it continues on. But I just love that. You want to talk about depressing. Although, because of you know, the prayers of this fellow Daniel, he's able to survive the lion's den, which he's here with his hands tied, looking very confident in front of all these lions, and for good reason. He's got God on his side. So yeah, man, I just think it's cool. I mean, it's a great cover, and it's you know, it's cool. This is great music. I love this album, so it's cool that he got a cover like this. And again, it's a gatefold, and it's really fun. So I appreciate art like that. I appreciate classic art, and it's very monotone there, all like browns and yellows. So anyway, just striking in my opinion. Very cool. So The Sound from the Lion's Mouth.
What's the music like? I don't think I've ever
It's gonna
heard
be,
of it.
you know, it's like gothic. I would call it like gothic 80s, you know, sort of jangly guitars and kind of like I don't know. It's been a while since I've listened to it, if I'm being honest, but you know, I think like the Bauhaus and stuff like that. You know, it's going to be kind of in that realm. Maybe Susie and the Banshees. I guess I'd put it on the same shelf as that stuff.
Got it.
It's cool
All
you
right.
showed that. A friend of mine is really looking for that record, and it's not cheap now, you know?
Yeah, it's a tough one. I even paid up for this one. And fortunately, it got a couple of reissues, but still, it's still hard to get this one without paying up for it. All right, Chris, what do you got?
Well, I'm going pretty typical. I mean, I wish I was going as creative as you guys were, but I was torn on showing this one because the artist didn't really love it, but it's just another iconic cover, and I didn't know he didn't love it until I read about it. But it's Jimmy's Axis,
Very nice.
Bold as Love, and another
Yeah,
one
that's
like
a
the
fun
Grateful
cover.
Dead. It's a super cool cover. Another one like the Grateful Dead that just opens up. You kind of get all types of different imagery on it. So when I learned about this, Jimmy was pissed that this came out. It wasn't the cover that he had intended. It's caused some controversy amongst the Hindu community. They banned it because it misuses a lot of their imagery. And I think Jimmy's comment was something along the lines of he wished he had more of his heritage represented in it. So, I'm not going to hate on it because he hated it, because once it's out in the public sphere, it's for everybody. But this is just another iconic cover. This is probably on everybody's, top album cover lists whenever they put these out in the magazines. But the only album cover list that matters is ours tonight, the 30 we're showing. So with that, I'm going to kick it over to Rojas.
That's that's a fun cover, actually, no matter what anybody says. And plus, it has that song about UFOs on it, I think, right? And what is it? It has the first Noel Redding song. So he gave Noel Redding a bone. Like, you can sing this one,
He gave him the Ringo.
Yes.
The Ringo, yes.
All right, I will show. Oh my gosh, let me see here. From 1973, John Martin's Solid Air. Now, the cool thing is that, of course, it's very explicit here, right? Hand moving through solid air. Get it? Ha 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 ha. Yeah. I mean, okay, despite the dad jokes and the cheese here, this is actually a very reflective record. The title cut is about Nick Drake, his best friend, who died, So a lot of thought, solid air, you're moving through solid air, you are gone, right? So this hand drifting, and plus it has some jazz rock again with this, he's using an Echoplex on his guitar. If you don't know what that is, he's creating this effect that the guitar is larger than life and it's coming from space, and he uses that effect like magnificently, I mean, even though you would look at this and you're like, folky, folky. But the record is, again, Solid Air about Nick Drake, a heavy topic, So my choice,
Is it heavy music or heavy lyrics, or is it all the way around heavy?
No. I don't think the music's heavy anyway. I think it's more folkish with some, some electronic spice on it. That's what I would call it, right? Some effects on it to spice it up. But the lyrics are very heavy on here. But I mean, not all of them, right? There's a song called May You Never, which Eric Clapton covered and had success with. But I mean, the OG here is better, So
yeah.
Are you both familiar with this record, you guys?
Yeah.
I was not, no.
I don't own it. I've heard it a million times. See, I hate those Abbey Road reissues.
Oh, man, Hayden. But I mean, I'm going to tell you, actually, Chris, I think this one actually beat the original. So I'll have to dig up my original. But when I did the shootout, this actually beat it, which again, I know I'm an OG dude, but now I'm saying it on your channel. This one actually beat the OG because it brought I think the OG sounded muddy or too warm, and then this brought more detail, which is what you need for this record.
You need it for that, yeah.
Yep.
Welcome back.
Arnaldo's just trying to get a clear answer, and he just can't, dude. It's the Doors, there's no clear answer. Now we've got Solid. It's is it a good pressing? Jason says yes.
Yes.
Chris says no.
So Arnaldo,
I have bad luck with the Abbey Road reissues. I feel like they're very flat most of the time, and there's something different that's gone on with half-speed mastering, I think, versus old half-speed mastering. But if you're saying that's the best sounding version of it, I don't have it because I wouldn't buy an original. but I've streamed that album a ton. It's killer.
And I have to agree with the Vinyl Dreamscape, Sean. Welcome, Sean. Like, this is a very trippy record, like very trippy.
Yeah.
You know. So
I'm gonna check
there you
that
go,
out for sure.
Arnaldo. Try to get this. Cryptic? What do you mean cryptic? If I'm gonna say the Doors Rhino Hi-Fi sucks, I'm gonna say it sucks. There you go.
It's
You better
plain
flip
as
it.
day.
Right, flip it now. You know.
Flip it good. Dun-dun-dun-dun-dun. All right. Next up for me, Kiss Love Gun. This is artist Ken Kelly, who I'm very familiar with because Ken Kelly he was a big cover artist, paperback cover artist. He did a lot of the people that know Robert E. Howard and they like his work, you know, Conan and all that stuff. There's a whole series of those paperbacks. I guess he did them in hardcover too that Ken Kelly did. And so he's kind of a Frazetta, you know, during that time, a lot of people know about Frank Frazetta. Frank Frazetta was the big fantasy artist going back to like the 40s and the 50s and the 60s. And he just couldn't paint fast enough. And so they had to get guys to copy his style. One of those guys was named Jeffrey Jones, who developed his own style. Another one was Ken Kelly. But Ken Kelly got to do a couple of these Kiss records, man, right? He did this one and then Destroyer. And I just think they're cool, man. They definitely take me back to those paperbacks and stuff. And you know, it's kind of got that fantasy feel. It's got Conan almost with the big columns and marble columns and the, you know, whatever this is supposed to be down here. I almost, at first glance, it's kind of like a harem for, you know, for Kiss, the band or whatever, but I don't know. But anyway, I like this one, man. I like it again, probably a little bit biased just because I'm kind of cool with Ken Kelly's artwork and everything. But yeah, this one and Destroyer, same artist, very cool. The guy was a paperback artist, cover artist too, back in the 70s and stuff. So there it is, Kiss Love Gun.
You're missing the funny part of that cover. Like, comes with the gun. Did you get the gun?
Oh, it comes with the gun. This is not one that was issued with the gun, but yeah. The
Oh, you
gun.
should still show the inner. Can you show the inner? That one's fun too.
Well, there's the back. It's just kind of but then the inner.
Yes.
This is just the Kiss inner.
Oh man, there we go.
Dude, there's stuff. I mean, everything. Like there's the label and everything. Man, Kiss was one of the most kind of visual, marketable bands of all time, right? And so even as a kid, before I even heard the music, I would see stuff like this and just imagine, like, what could that possibly be inside there, you know? Anyway, did it live up to the hype? I don't know. There's massive Kiss fans out there, so. All right. What do you got, Chris?
I think this is one of the most important album covers ever, and it's cool as hell too. And that's Tribe Called Quest, Midnight Marauders. So
nice.
It's got a little Some Girls flavor to it, a little Sgt. Pepper's flavor to it. This is an important album cover because if you think about the climate in hip hop, this is probably one of the last 1 or 2 years before all hell broke loose and everybody on each coast kind of hated each other. It was issued in 3 different versions. Rojas, you might know a little bit about this. It was red, green, and black, and I think each version had a different profile of people on the cover. And on the back, it identifies the people kind of like in a, kind of an answer key. It's also pretty cool because it continues that Low End Theory artwork, which is so iconic from their best album. And I'm almost positive, I could be wrong about this, but I think on some versions of the album, there's still people that they haven't fully identified, or at least a few years ago, there was still like 2 or 3 people that people really couldn't understand who they were. And there was a lot of speculation, but some pretty famous people on this album cover, the guys from Black Moon, MC Light, Lords of the Underground, Too Short, Dr.
You got
Dre.
the B-Boys right there, front and center.
Yeah. Dr. Dre.
Is that Grandmaster Flash in the top right above the B-Boys? Sorry, I'm just like...
I don't know. It might be. I'm looking at the back. I'm looking at
looks
the
like
answer.
him. And he's got the headphones and everything. I don't know.
Yeah, next to him is Heavy D, I believe, right?
Yeah. De La
That's
Soul
cool, dude.
Yeah, this is a really cool album cover. And it's a lot of DJs that I think supported them and kind of what they were doing early on and gave them a run and gave them some credibility, even though they really didn't need it. But also, it kind of goes with their idea of the unity movement, right? When you talk about what they were doing with native tongues and all the people they were working with all the time, it was really about collaboration rather than kind of the beef, and that has its place in hip hop. But this is just kind of like a final stamp on that era when this came out. So really cool album cover.
I wonder if someone actually posed for that with the body paint, or is that just a kind of an after effect?
I don't know. I'd have to research the artist. By the way, my favorite person on here is the fact that Ice-T is there, which I think is so badass.
Oh yeah.
Well, I think Busta Rhymes is like below, to the corner.
Yeah, right here.
Right? Yeah.
Oh yeah, totally. Yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of people on here.
Can you imagine if you were supposed to be on the cover, but you were blocked and you were asking the Tribe, "What the hell, bro? What? Why?"
Yeah. Classic.
That would be brutal, dude.
This is a reissue. I don't have any of the original variations, but some of them are pretty pricey and probably beat up.
Yeah.
Good choice there. Good choice. All right, me, okay.
Yes.
So I think everyone saw it a little bit. Joy Division from 1980, right? This is Closer or Closer. Whoa, right? They never tell you. They never tell you how to say it. And if you look at this cover, again, designed by Peter Seville, right? But I don't think he did the photograph. I think Bernard Pierre Wolf. Like, if you look at this, there's a death scene going on here, which if you saw this, again, reading this closer to you, or this is the closer, the end of the road here. See where I'm going with this?
Absolutely.
Very mysterious, very stark cover, which again, this kind of stark moodiness represents the songs on here, that kind of darkness again. And if you read the inner of the songs, right? Let me move this. I mean, again, Heart and Soul, 24 hours. Yep, you only have 24 hours in your life, right?
Yeah, it's like it's the only way to take that title, right? Once you see that cover.
right. And then like that, man, end side one means to an end. Woo, Oh man, like this is a heavy record, I wouldn't say it's all depressing, but again, I believe the starkness of the cover itself, right? Just, this is my choice,
I picked my 10 over the weekend, and then this morning I was like, damn, I should do Closer. And I was like,
so
no, I was there, and I was like, man, maybe I should do Closer and Unknown Pleasures, but I thought that would be overkill. But
yeah. I mean, I almost chose Unknown Pleasures, but then I looked at this. I'm like, well, let me listen to this one more time, right? And it was like, I was listening to it like, whoa, holy crap. Like, oh my gosh. Yeah. And again, Closer or Closer, right? That's right.
Man, dude, now you messed my head up, dude. I thought it was just Closer. Now
this is what I'm saying.
Happens. When you talk to Rojas, you have to just throw away everything you thought you knew because it's all wrong.
My mind is blown now, man. Yeah, that's a great one, dude. Kind of reminds me too of that Dead Can Dance did a record, or maybe a couple records with kind of like these statues. One's like reaching into a window or something. If you guys are familiar with Dead Can Dance, and it's very like gothic music and kind of, I don't even know, to be honest with you, I'm not sure I recall what you would actually call it. And their style really kind of changed from their first album to the rest of it. But yeah, it's kind of like that statuesque look, like what we're looking at there. Like, I don't know, is that a painting or a statue, or I don't know, man. I guess it's a photograph.
It's a photograph, and then of course the way it's designed on the cover really heightens it.
Very cool.
And they, like I said, the band, the manager, like they never thought about it, right? I'm pretty sure, Ian, right? He's the one who, we're gonna call it this, right? And no one said like, we shouldn't call it that, bro. Like, no way, man. Like that's, but they reflected on later, right? Like, wait, did he mean Closer? Like he was going to kill himself? Like, no, we didn't see the signs. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah, I know, right? It's like, have you see the movie that was done by Anton Corbijn that did he did the
Yes.
movie? Yeah, it's great. The whole thing is like, yeah, totally clueless. Like, well, we never even listened to the lyrics, but now that we go back and hear them, it's like this guy was totally miserable the whole time.
Yeah.
Right. And he enjoyed being that rock star, even though it was sort of, like opposite of his health. He couldn't
Right.
pursue that any further.
Uh,
So my choice, Closer from 1980.
there you go. Nice one.
Nice one. Yep.
Troubled artist. All right. Next one for me. And you showed, I believe that Grateful Dead cover, Chris, is a Kelly Mouse cover, if I'm not mistaken. And this is another Mouse cover. So famous in the in circles, Grateful Dead circles and Journey circles, although they did other stuff, but big Journey and Grateful Dead is going to be Kelly and Mouse. And so this one right here is Stanley Mouse did the painting for that. It's cool because it's all embossed. You can kind of see how it's embossed there. But, this is another one that just goes back to my childhood. I wasn't thinking about, who this was or, that it was related to the Grateful Dead in any way or anything like that. But kind of cool that it is. Of course, his collaborator, Alton Kelly, as I said, they designed, I think the first 8 Grateful Dead covers were all designed by those guys. And they did a lot of the, like, again, going back to like Fillmore poster type stuff and everything. But also, as you guys, those that are into Journey and the record covers, there's a theme and it looks very, very similar because it's the same artist, Stanley Mouse, that did a bunch of those. And this one's kind of dual. I mean, for me, because it's Grateful Dead, who I love. I'm a fantastic artist. The whole story of Kelly Mouse is really cool. But this is one of those records that I grew up with, man. And that, because of my mom, I just grew an affinity for Journey. And so, yeah, it's kind of got a lot of different meaning for me. But yeah, Journey Escape right there by Stanley Mouse.
Cool.
I never knew it was done by Stanley Mouse. Can you show the cover, like the lettering? That's the thing that really gets me, the escape there. Do you see that? The E5C4P3?
Yep.
Oh, man.
And the Journey's like written on its side as you go down and stuff instead of...
Yes. Oh, man.
And it's kind of that creative stuff you see with the Grateful Dead too, right? There's like hidden messages in the lettering and just crazy designs to the fonts and stuff like that. This one's more simple, but you're right. Like there's still some kind of style to it. Yeah.
That is cool.
All right, Chris, you are up, baby.
All right. Here's an album cover from the Bronx, New York. This is Camp Lo's 1997 Uptown Saturday Night. This is one of the most badass album covers of the 90s. This is essentially an homage to Marvin Gaye's I Want You. Kind of a play on the painting that was on that cover. So if you don't know this record, this is their debut album. I think they might have had one more after this and they just disappeared. They had a big song with Lucchini, which East Coast hip hop classic, but it's a very jazzy, soulful hip hop record. No, it's not an OG. I wish it was. But this is a cool album cover, and it's kind of like I like one thing I love about hip hop, especially kind of the era that I grew up in and listened to. There's a lot of soul sampling and R&B sampling and homage to that era. So this is just a really cool play on that record. And when you listen to the record, it makes sense why this cover is like this. It's just a cool, chill party record. Stone Cold classic.
Yeah, that's great. Great cover. Love that stuff, man. That's cool. All right, Jay, you're up.
All right. Now, again, I didn't get through all the albums I was fighting to pick, and that box was closer than the other boxes. So I chose from 1981, Phil Collins' Face Value, right? So what is this record, right? I mean, this is his first solo record, from Genesis. And the crazy thing is that you're going to take him at face value, right? And the cover is showing
no
this,
choice.
right? You have no choice. And of course, the back, he does it right. He ain't messing around. You get the back.
There you go.
But again, this record, even though it has like this, it's like pop rock basically, but behind the pop rock and the facade is like anger and revenge, you know? And, you know, after his divorce or breakup, like he was pissed off, you know? So you will take him at face value serious. I mean, look at these eyes, you know?
Dude, I know that is a great photograph, actually, man. If you look at the detail in those eyes, holy cow.
Right. You know, and it's a gatefold. So, I mean, honestly, right? You just. And he covers Tomorrow Never Knows at the end, right? Oh, man.
Yeah.
So, what's
what
the
a
hit on
guy.
that one, Jay? What's the hit on that one?
In the Air Tonight, of course.
Oh,
right?
there you go. Absolutely.
I Missed Again was another hit. I mean,
Oh, I love that one too. Yeah.
and of course, what else? Yeah, Tomorrow Never Knows. I think he does cover Genesis right behind the lines, and then This Must Be Love. That was like another minor hit, but again, take him at face value. You know,
You have no choice, folks. No choice in the matter. Yeah.
oh my gosh,
Arnaldo's right, man. Open the gatefold and you see inside his head. There you go.
right? He used too many Post-it notes.
That's actually how my brain kind of feels. That's great, dude. All right, little Phil Collins action there. All right. Next up for me, and I've done this guy once before, so this is gonna be Griffin. What's his name? I wrote it down. I'm forgetting. Oh, Rick Griffin. Rick Griffin. So this is the Quicksilver messenger service for. I know there's a lot of ringware. Sorry, guys. This one is subject to ringware. It's got that shiny cover on it. But Rick Griffin, and again, we were talking about just wild fonts. This is the same guy that did Oxo Moxoa, the Grateful Dead, which I'll show it again for those keeping score. You can see very similar fonts, right? So yeah, same artist, Rick Griffin there. I don't know what that is. I always kind of looked at that like, the alien face hugger. I always thought that was the alien face hugger right there, but I don't know. But yeah, this is again, I think it's another just stark kind of iconic cover, late 60s. If you're into San Francisco psychedelic rock, this is a great album, first of all, but also a really kind of cool iconic cover. And again, the great Rick Griffin here again doing his lettering thing. And that Q is interesting. Maybe that's supposed to be the devil or something, Jay. I don't know. He's making a reprise here. But but I love it. I even kept my sticker on there, man, because I hadn't been back to Rasputin's in so long in Berkeley that when I went there, I picked this up because I had to get something. So I left the sticker on there, man, just to reminisce about the great Rasputins, or what used to be the great Rasputins. I guess it's debatable now, but yeah, Quicksilver messenger service. Rick Griffin right there.
You know, the thing is, you would like look at that cover with your black light on, you know, when the drugs were kicking in.
Yeah. Well, that was 50% of these records, right? Is that the drugs would kick in and then you would just trip out. What is that? That's why they're so detailed and like abstract.
The messenger service. They are so
Yes.
slept on, the messenger service.
Oh, dude, I every time I can, I have to mention their second album, dude, because it's just so great. But the first one's great too. All right, let's go, Chris. What do you got, baby?
Dude, this album cover is sorely overlooked. Doesn't even ever come up on these lists that you look at. That's Curtis Mayfield's Sweet Exorcist. This is such a
that's
badass
great,
album cover.
dude.
So first off, Curtis Mayfield's solo stuff. He's the king of opening tracks on albums. The opening track on here, Ain't Got Time, is just insane. But this is kind of a cool album cover. I guess it's depicting some kind of mythical gods and some kind of struggle, it looks like, trying to grab the planets. Has some stuff on the front here, some words. I think it's lyrics to one of the songs on the album. And if you open it up, it's kind of like the same theme. It's like little short pictures.
So here's a guy that does his gate folds correctly. I don't go through that trouble, but that's cool, dude. I love how you got the you use the two sleeves on there, right? So you can like open it up still.
Yeah, I like that.
That's a vinyl hack right there, guys.
No, this is actually a sleeve that is made specifically for gatefolds. It's not two separate.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's right. I forgot they made those. Yeah.
Yeah, I found these. I forget who sells them, but yeah, I enjoy them. Yeah, this is so badass. And it's kind of the same thing when you talk about your exposure to Curtis Mayfield through the impressions, or you see Superfly, you don't picture this mid-70s psychedelic, imagery that he puts forth. And man, does he deliver on this record. So
do you know who the artist is by chance? Not to put you on the spot, but
Curtis Mayfield's the artist. Oh, the artist of the cover. I'm just kidding. I don't know. I never really looked at it,
As someone that kind of has dabbled in, vintage science fiction paperbacks and stuff, it definitely reminds me of some of those 70s artists that did that stuff. And I just wonder if it's a paper book artist that did that too.
Yeah, maybe. I guess I'd have to kind of dig through the album cover. One of my resolutions is to really read liner notes and credits more often, because I've gotten away from that over time, and I probably know more about who designed these covers and whatnot.
So, Chris, what do you think about the title "Sweet Exorcist" and that cover? How does that relate? What do you think?
So,
because you said they're like saving the planet, or sort of,
yeah,
maybe, or juggling it.
they're juggling some kind of struggle, but I also wondered if the Sweet Exorcist is the move to another planet. When you look at the cover, they're kind of reaching for something else, or they're reaching for some kind of high point in culture, maybe. But I got to be honest, like, some of the lyrics don't really drive the cover. Don't coincide with the cover. Some of the songs do, but some really don't. I mean, there's some love songs on here that don't really reflect this. So I don't really know. But I would think that the exorcism of getting out of this life to another, getting out of this society to another, that could be one play on it. Certainly juggling the universe is another play. It's tough to say. And I'm sober, so I mean, it's even harder to
well, it's kind of like, if you look too, there's a lot of death going on around them, right? It's almost like reaching to the planets for like escape or something, maybe. Like there's all these waves, like it's like this tidal stuff going on, and there's all these bones. Maybe it's kind of a message that the future is in other planets or something. I don't know. It's the vision of oh god, why can't they be the Tesla guy? What's his name?
Elon,
right? It's Elon's vision. Get off of the planet,
Well, you see too, like a lot. I know Rojas went chronologically. It was a cool idea. I should have done that too, because some of the stuff I chose was late 60s and early 70s, and there was definitely a psychedelic influence, but this sort, like a revolutionary influence from a psychedelic standpoint. It wasn't all grim. It was more of like an expansion of culture or mind to get to a certain place. So in a way, that's kind of reflected in the times here, from what they were saying. But I don't know, if you guys don't have this record, at least stream it. It's freaking killer.
Yeah, I'll definitely check it out, man. That's cool. I've never seen that one.
Actually, a fun experiment, nerd out for a second. If you take, I think I told Rojas this once, if you take all the first tracks from Curtis Mayfield's catalog and put them in a playlist, it's the most incredible listening experience you'll ever have. Like every album, even his bad albums, like some of the later like disco stuff, the first track is like just a gem on every record.
There's some great comments, man. Choosy, you're right. Hot Tuna stuff is so cool. Here's weighing in on Vinyl Dreamscape. Sleeve is kind of Afrofuturism escaping the planet. That is nothing but war and racism. Yeah, I mean, that would not seem wrong. What's up, OJ? Good to see you, man. All right.
The movie Exorcist came out shortly before this LP. Curtis was influenced. Oh, that's cool too.
Yeah, that would make sense. All right, Jay.
That's a good cover, Chris. So now, as everyone can see, I'm choosing, I have like these notes here to make sure I say it right. From 1981, ABBA, The Visitors, right? Now, they're Europop, but this cover is not representing any happiness at all, right? And they look very, they're not looking at each other, right? So you're dealing with two divorced couples, or soon to be divorced, right? In hell.
Oh.
And they are the visitors in hell. Does everyone see where this is going? So the Sunshine Pop is over, right? The game is, the game is done, right? It's finished. So I chose it because this cover really represents the desolation, right, of the record, and the title cut itself. Like, if you don't know the title cut, The Visitors, man, like one of the best new wave songs ever. Like, it crept into their style. And in the back cover, you're really seeing that, like, this sort of orange, hue on it. I mean, this is nuts, really.
Is it a happy
Yeah, that's
record?
wild.
Not necessarily. I mean, there's some cuts on here, maybe like Head Over Heels. Let the Music Speak, right, which is one of their biggest hits. But everything else is wild in here. They have a song number 3, when all is said is done. Yep, that means like not the dinner is done, but the relationship is done. So this is actually my favorite ABBA record, and I always like looking at this cover and seeing, man, things are not well here.
It gives me like the Shining vibes, where it's like they're in that massive hotel and things are not good. There's like this whole ghost story in like each of those photos. I don't know, for some reason I get that, kind of vibes. It's just like so stark.
Yep, and this is why I chose it. My
pretty
favorite
cool.
ABBA, The Visitors. I
Very
mean,
cool.
just as creepy as the Joy Division.
All right. Well, heck, man, I made a note of that one too, dude. I'm gonna have to go check that one out. I'm not mad at ABBA, so that's cool. All right, next one for me is gonna be this is just kind of like front of mind for me because I've been really trying to nail down and fill in gaps in my electro, funk, R&B, soul catalog, and so of course we got to do a little Shaka Khan. We got Rufus and Shaka right there. This is thought as like being, Shaka Khan's sort of mouth right here and sort of giving the impression that, Shaka Khan's kind of going to be the dominant member of the group moving forward, with as the vocalist and everything. And she was kind of she was sort of the person at the band leader in a sense, in terms of like she was doing all the interviews and all of that stuff, starting here. So yeah, I think that's cool, man. I just love the lettering and everything, and it's almost that sort of. If the tongue was sticking out, what would we have? We'd have some Rolling Stones for you, yeah. But we don't. We got Shaka Khan, and Shaka Khan is phenomenal. One of the great female vocalists. So yeah, Rufus and Shaka featuring Shaka. I love it. It's a cool one. It's one I picked up recently. Again, filling in gaps. And so I had to choose it. It also has a poster, which is kind of fun. Got the Shaka poster right there.
Sweet.
Yeah. I don't know how much I can say about it. Very simple cover, but again, I can't read into it as much as Jason's reading into his covers, except that it's kind of like, it's even sort of documented that this was kind of like, all right, Shaka's the new face of the Rufus band. So there you go.
Good stuff.
All right, Chris.
1996, one of the great years in music history, and I'm biased, but Outkast.
There we go.
That's cool.
This is like, I'm not even a comic book guy, but this is basically depicting a comic book at the price. Just really cool illustrations on here. I remember being a kid in elevators, that music video came on and that beat hit, man. I was like, what am I listening to? Like, craziest stuff ever. So obviously their first album is a classic, but the second one is really when they come into their own here, and just really mesmerized by this album cover. And it looks way better on vinyl than it did on the original CD jewel case when you got it. I don't know, can't really say enough about these guys. And the last record I'm going to show after this in the next round, I think highly influenced a lot of their artwork and a lot of their appearances going forward. So there's a little bit of a connection there, but come on, Outkast. Hello.
They're from Atlanta, right?
Correct. Yeah.
Yeah, I noticed how they're doing the play on words with the ATL. That's right. It's clever,
Very cool.
Good catch. Yeah, I like that it's in a comic book style. That's fun. It's like I'm not a collector of comics, but I've always loved comics growing up and stuff. So that's a nice little spin on it.
Yeah, and if you look, like, they kind of have alien eyes if you look real close. I'll see if I can get it closer to the camera. So it's playing into that ATL aliens thing, but they're just the greatest. Right behind Tribe for me. They're awesome, except when they play the flute. But hey,
All right, Jay.
All right,
Coming
so
down-
I chose
We're rounding third. We're rounding third, guys. Here we go. All right, let's go, baby.
So I chose from 1985 William Onabare, anything you sow, right? So this record is, yeah, it's Afro pop, but it's mostly synth pop. And you can see from this cover that he's having a lot of fun here, you know? And the music represents that completely. He had all this amazing gear. It's always, the story goes, it's been questionable how he got the gear. It's something to do with Russians. I don't know. He died and we'll never know the true story. And he disowned all the music, like he thought it was pathetic, you know, but in reality, it's just a lot of fun, you know. I can't even stress how, and this is the original South African pressing, of course. Like I've owned like 2 other copies and I sold them for some money, but it's hard to get a clean copy of this damn record. And he released it on his own label, you know, all self-released, you know. So, and
So is he from South Africa? No.
I thought so, right? No, am I
Yeah.
mistaken here?
No, I don't know.
Yeah.
I think I'm mistaken. When you said South African pressing, I didn't realize that's where he was from.
Yes. So anyone in the chat can correct me if I'm wrong here, but yeah, I think he wanted to be a filmmaker and like do soundtracks and do his own films. I think he has like a one album that is like soundtrack music for a film, but I've never seen it. But the guy kind of played everything, you know, as you can see here. Again, very electronic, right? Drum machine, of course. He's got the Moog. I mean, you're thinking about it, 86, and then he's got a Moog. That wasn't cheap, you know?
Right.
That's wild, dude. Again, man, I know. Look, I have a lot of blank spots in my musical taste, you know, or whatever experience. It's like I know my stuff and I know what I like, I know what I love, and I got, you know, I know that stuff. I do not know a lot of the stuff that you're showing, dude. So it's like that's fantastic. I'm gonna make a note of that one too.
William Onabare. Let me see if I can get there. There we go.
How are the reissues on that? Any?
I think I remember I had the reissue and it was not great compared to this sucker. You know, I hate to say it. You know, and people are selling this for over 100 now, I think. But I think you can get this for under, but the condition may be sketchy, you know?
Yeah.
That's the thing with
kind of
all
stuff
the
they need to be
Afrobeat stuff.
reissuing.
That's what I'm saying. And they do it right. But it's so hard. You hear all those on compilations and you go down a rabbit hole and you try to find the albums and it's like, you're just not gonna get what you need.
The thing is, there was a guy in Minneapolis, like at his coffee shop, he sold records, and eventually he had some guy in Africa, like some dealer friend, and they would send records. And one day I popped into the coffee shop looking at his records, and no offense if you're watching this, you overpriced your records. I hate you. But this one was well priced. It was at 50. I'm like, this is mine. Give it up. You know, hey, take this. You can overprice those fellas. I'm not buying those, but I will buy this. You know, no problem. Yes.
Final and Kick.
He's from Nigeria.
Just looked it up. From Nigeria, an Essential Electric record. So there we go.
Yes. And again, he's super happy right here. Look at him.
He's vibing out, baby. All right. Well, heck, man. I got my last one. My last record. Here we go. Been listening to that, wearing the grooves out of this one lately, man. But this is SOS Band. Boom. This one is on the rise with the massive blimp on there. This was interesting because I see this record cover and I think, all right, I need to do some research on this artist. He must have done a ton of stuff like this, right? And he didn't. So this guy's a fine artist. If you look at his website, you're going to see a lot of wildlife paintings and stuff. And he's not the only one that I've seen do that, where you look, where they've just kind of, whatever reason, I don't know if he's a friend of the band or whatever, but was commissioned to do this artwork, and yet has a whole different style, right, in real life and stuff. So, but I love that one, man. Just the great colors of the sky and everything, the big blimp SOS, on there and stuff, and yeah, man, just very futuristic looking blimp on there. This one's got Just Be Good to Me. I was vibing out to that one earlier today. But yeah, man, I don't know, just a great cover, and I don't know, kind of an interesting story. It's interesting how some of these covers get done, right? Like the 1984 one and stuff, and with this one, it's like this is one of only a handful of covers he did, but he's a very prolific artist, just in a different field. So anyway, SOS Band, great record there. So what did I say? Yeah, on the rise.
Nice.
All
That
right,
was
Chris,
a solid
you're
10,
right.
man. All right, so this is one of my prized possessions. This thing is, I can't believe I found this. It was minty as hell. Came with the extra 45, and I think it has a strong connection to that Outkast record, just from a stylistic standpoint. And I could have showed their whole discography, or at least most of it, and that's Funkadelics, One Nation Under a Groove. I love this album cover. Just all types of LSD driven, cartoony, late 70s flavor on here. Killer cover.
That cover's like good enough to eat, man. Just look at that. It's like cotton candy, ice cream, like yeah, dude, I mean, the colors on that thing.
So beautiful. Look at the back. Come on. It's like a superhero.
It is. That's interesting.
That's
Incredible.
great stuff. It's interesting. The art style, though, kind of reminds me of like early Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle. Like it's not like it's someone who's got. They have a very distinct style, and I wouldn't say it looks. It's a little amateurish, I guess I would say.
It's like it's somewhere across between like your Saturday morning cartoons and a comic book. It's kind of sandwiched between that, and then I hope we don't get blocked on YouTube for this. So I'll cover that. But, if you're 14 or 12 in 1978, I think this came out. But their whole I could have shown the whole run. I could have made probably 8 out of the 10 I showed tonight, just everything. And I like the fact that I started with Maggot Brain and ended with One Nation. But I always saw strong similarities, whether it was intentional or not, between Outkast and their style and their flavor and how they approach things, and the album covers to this. So this is just, I love this record and I love having it. I'm really, really proud of this.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, it's very iconic, right? They're holding the flag, right? Which was, what is that?
Yeah.
That's similar to, I can't remember that iconic.
Like the war picture. Yeah.
Yes.
Yes. And like, it's kind of the same thing.
Oh,
like
right.
They're
World
holding
War
up
II,
R&B.
planting the flag. Was it Iwo Jima or something like that? Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Very cool. Very cool,
Yeah.
dude.
It's like deep. So yeah, Funkadelic.
Nice bookends right there. I just got to respond to Choosy Heretics right here, who said that anything with Johnny Winter and Muddy is fantastic. Well, there you go. Those are the two you want to have. I'm Ready and Hard Again. Just two phenomenal electric blues albums right there. So I had to show them, almost by request, man. I had to show them. So, all right, Jay.
So this is the last one, right? This is the last round. So
This is it.
I did not make it through the 90s box. I don't know. So Cesar, if you're watching, I'm sorry. Like I would have chose some 90s. I just didn't get it. I needed like a good hour to get through and then like sift them out. So this is the last one from 1986. Anita Baker, The Rapture. Okay, so why did I choose this? This cover, like this is not, there's something with this cover, right? She is pulling in, right? And her eyes are closed, and she's in a space, like this moodiness, right? Or just, I've been hurt, and I need to like get in touch with oneself again. That's what I'm getting from this, and of course it had like big songs, Sweet Love, Caught Up in the Rapture. Holy crap. If you don't know that song, I don't know. Like you can't go out, go through life without hearing Caught Up in the Rapture. Like, holy crap,
I'm gonna I'm gonna spin that on Spotify as soon as we're done here.
So I mean, some people say the record is a bit cheesy, right? But I mean, the hot singles on here, they really just tell this. I mean, again,
I mean, that doesn't
she's
detour
sort of
me, man. I get it. I love that stuff.
like Smooth Soul, but like she's pulling in, and of course at the back cover here, she's sort of like not very happy. You know, she's giving you this sort of
Her man is not treating her right, Jay.
yes, you know.
Very nice, dude.
Nice pick.
Very nice.
Yes. So
Nice picks all, man. Great stuff. Woo. Man, I almost wish I had some more. People have been mentioning a lot of record covers. I keep wanting to reach for them because I have some of them, and you're right. Like, it's all great stuff, man. So, yeah, thanks everybody that kind of weighed in with their favorites.
is that
dang, dude,
Edwin? Is that Edwin Burt song at the back of you?
Oh,
Like
of
that?
course. I was just telling Chris, man, I'm spinning this when he was coming in, and it's like, dude, this thing, come for Cola Bottle Baby, of course, but stay for the whole rest of this record, dude. Side 1 is phenomenal. And Cola Bottle Baby runs into Fizz Fizz, and it's kind of like one long extended track. And then track 3 on side 1 is phenomenal, man. Dude, I'm very happy I snagged this thing. And they're a little tough to get now. I mean, this came out on Music on Vinyl, and, they kind of all got snagged up. But, guys, I'm just telling you, man, you like your electro funk. I don't know why this guy isn't better known, because this is phenomenal. It's really great. So, yeah.
That's the Daft Punk sample, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. And other stuff, too. But the big one's the Daft Punk one everyone knows, right? What is it? Bigger, harder, faster, stronger, whatever that title is from that.
Yeah.
And it's funny too. It's one of those songs where it's like, it's the whole song. Like it took that riff, and yeah, I know they chopped it up and stuff, but when you hear that, you'll know exactly where it's from. But he was great, man. Edwin Burt song was phenomenal. That's just a great album. Very, very happy with that one. Well, Jay, hey, take us out with something from the wall, dude. Take us out with something from the wall. I'm looking at that one. What is that? What is that? That one with the green face on it right there? I'm real curious to know what that is.
So this is like Os Mutantes from 1971, and I believe Sean Vinyl Dreamscape, he knows what the album's called. I'm not going to pronounce it. Oh my gosh. Ardeem Electro, or is that it, Sean? I believe. But what the hell, Peter? You met Edwin Burnsong, you lucky bastard.
Dude. Yeah.
What the hell? But this is Mutantes from 71, like still doing silly rock stuff. But the cover's very catching, as you can see, I think all their covers, like, I played this during my stream last Sunday before I got canceled, but the whole thing, I'll just move over, like I am featuring Brazilian records this month, right? So cool shit. Of course, you can see the gal right there. Jorge Ben, Gilberto Gil, Caetano Veloso, Tom Zay, the Tropicalia record, all the Os Mutantes.
Great little representation right there. Wow.
Mutantes, and then the last Mutantes record where they like only had one original member, Sergio. So let's see what this looks like so you can see it. These guys look like they're about to do like some yes rock here, so they definitely moved away. They moved away from their Brazilian pop sound, and they were, instead of, I think people don't like the later era because they weren't starting or inventing trends or music, right? They were following trends, So that's the thing. Like they just sort of, I don't know, declined, and eventually they broke up. But the best Os Mutantes record, in my opinion, and let's show this cover. It's the second Rita Lee record here. Let's move over here. Yes, this cover does not look appealing. Let's just get off the bat here, but this is the best Os Mutantes record. They all play on it. She sings on all of the songs, right, with the Os Mutantes backing her up. Like this is a fantastic record. I mean, they definitely look all 70s out here, But if you have if you have a picture of Sergio playing the sitar, you can't go wrong here,
Dude,
you know?
sitar. I mean, wow. Okay.
But
That's
see,
sick.
Arnaldo, like he kind of lost his mind after Rita Lee and him broke up, and then he came out with, I think, a few solo records, but his first one. Now let me show this because it's over there. You can see it. I mean, he totally lost his mind. Like the breakup caused him a hard time. I mean, look at that bullet belt, woo, and leather pants, you know, and Loki question mark, right? Arnaldo Baptista. Like, man, this record is actually super hard to get. It is not cheap, you know. And again, like, look at this, no shirt, you know.
He's like a punk rock BG.
So yeah, this one's kind of wild. Like I don't think it's that great, but I mean, like to own it, you know, and listen to it and be like, man, I'm sorry, Rita Lee broke your heart, bro. I'm sorry. You know, it didn't have to go this way, you know. And look at that back cover. You see that like sort of shadow silhouette with him and then the angel like on top, like, man, serious.
Watch over me.
Right. Man,
that's wild, dude. He's gonna I can't tell. He's gonna try to kick some ass from that photo. I don't know how far he's gonna get, but he's gonna try to kick some ass. And he's got the the bullet belt. Hopefully, he's got the gun to go with it.
And the thing is, like, there is a reissue, and I don't think it's that expensive. But trying to get the OG, like when I found it, and then I haggled the guy. I was kind of like, "Yo, man, I mean that cover." Come on, take 50 off. Great, come on now, come on. And it was mine, so here we are. Arnaldo Baptista, Loki. I think what 73, maybe 74. Herc, am I wrong on that? Because I know that the Os Mutantes ended in what 72, 73. So, oh, he wants that one. Okay, so it's this one. Right. I think I showed this on my stream. You can see that it's either Sergio or Arnaldo are in the grave, right? And they're Rita and the other brother are looking down on him like, man, that's, you know.
That's heavy.
That was a whole episode in itself, just that wall, dude.
Yes. So it's, and you know, I think I said it before the stream, guys, right? The wall is to impress and show off a bit, but again, like introduce you to some cool music that some people don't know, right?
For sure.
Absolutely. Vinyl and Kicks brought up a great point. Can you just explain to us how Tegan and Sara are related to the genre?
They don't. I just needed Vinyl Kicks. I just needed to fill in this portion, right? Like, so there's no blank spaces.
Oh, I didn't even notice that, dude. Okay. Yeah, that's good.
A blank space for another Taylor reference. I mean, this is getting to be too much.
Right. But I mean, you see, like, because now it looks full, right? Now there's a wall. Like,
right. Yeah.
You know, if I'm going to have to compete with Thomas Busk from those Michael 45 streams, this is the way. Like, this is, you know, you got to bring it. But yeah, I get it, Vinyl Kicks. I wasn't being, you know, it's not all together. What do you call it? You know, not feng shui enough for you.
No, man, you are definitely showing out today, man. Cool stuff. Very cool stuff. Well, all right. I think that brings us, we've crossed the plate, man. And when it's over, it's over. And I feel like it's over. We can do a part 2, man, at some point, because this was fun, dude. And there's lots more where this came from. We're going to have to get Jay to come back and just show us Brazilian records. We could do a whole show of that. But do you have another one to show? Or are you just taking down the Tegan and Sara?
Oh, no. It's just, if we're leaving, I'm going to show it for Vinyl Kicks. Thanks for coming, man. You know, this is for you. Tegan and Sara, they're so jealous, you know. This is
there you go. Record store day, right? Yeah.
Yes.
Very nice. All right, guys. Well, dude, Jay, thank you so much for being here, man. It was a pleasure.
Chris Spence, thanks for having me on.
Awesome.
Chris, as always. Fun, dude. Making Mondays great. Bringing back Mondays. Making Monday great again with the Your Brain on Vinyl series. So thank you, man.
Love it. Thanks, guys.
Thanks, everyone in chat. Thanks for chiming in. It was a ton of fun. Appreciate you guys. Thank you, Vinyl Dreamscape. Thank you, Vinyl and Kicks. You guys rock. Everybody that was here today, you guys rock. Appreciate you. And we will see you next Monday for more fun and shenanigans.